Hey everybody, it's Brandy, and you're watching Abstract Crafter. Welcome back to this week's Drill with Me session? Sure. So, if you want my company again today while you're working, then go grab your diamond painting, grab your craft project, grab your work stuff, whatever it is that you need company working on. Company for working on, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say, friends. Then, go ahead and grab it, and we'll get started as soon as we roll those intro credits. Hello, friends. Welcome back. So, it's kind of, I think the one thing that's unfortunate about doing the drill with me in this way is that I don't actually get to read your comments before, because I've already pre-filmed all these. So I can't really address any comments until the next one. But hopefully there's nothing I need to address. So, yesterday we talked a little bit about Scared and Brave. I'm trying to think, because I have some stories for like the saddest time in my life that doesn't have to do with direct depression or anything like that. But happiest, I don't know why I'm struggling, because that was like the thing that pairing is what fueled this whole storyline thing. So again, before we jump into that, this is a continuation with the emotion storytime guide that I've created. The explanation of that is in the first video, which I'll put parts 1 and 2 of this week's Draw With Me up above in the eyes there. So if you can go watch the first one for this week, that will explain a little bit more about this, or any of the Drill With Me's from last week. They'll explain what this emotion thing is, and basically it's just a bunch of pairings of words that I put together and their opposite emotion, and I'm just kind of telling stories or talking about how I deal with certain emotions. And so far we've talked about envy and compersion, lonely and loved. And then yesterday's video, we talked a little bit about the time I was most scared and 2 times that I felt the most brave. I kind of want to do weakest and strongest, but I feel like that goes right. It's too much like scared and brave, and I think I might deviate to that a little too much. So while I'm kind of looking this over, I will mention that this is a haunted house from EverShine, and I am so far, I've broken it up into 6 parts. I'm on part 1 of 6. It's just a little, I think it's a 35 by 45, I want to say. Something like that. I'm not 100% sure, honestly. I don't even know what color I'm working on, because I can't find I think I'm working on... What am I working on? Hues? I don't know. I don't know, because I have the color out and I don't know what color I was. I guess I could peel one up and look. But anyway, so because those ones were a little deep, I kind of want to talk about stupid and smart. Let's do that. So I'm going to start with the smart side. I do have stupid written first, but I want to talk about the smart side. So I think these stories might be quicker and we might be able to do more. I don't want to make any promises though. So smart. And this is going to be kind of a generalization, just talking about being smart, and then a story that I have that's kind of funny, and it makes me feel like a little proud. And although I think maybe I worked on no, $37.99 looks great. I do not know what one I was working with. Why did I do that? I was so busy talking that I didn't pay no attention. So let's see. I'll lift one up and see if I can get an idea what I was doing. How dumb. I think it was this color here. I don't know. These are really sticky. So M? No. Oh, this is just silliness. I can't believe I did this. Oh, I really hate pulling drills up. Those at M2. What was I thinking? Brandy. So disappointed in you. I think it was actually S. That makes sense. That does make sense. S. I'll just look at the S before I do it. Okay, so I am, and this is going to sound braggy, and it's meant to, I am a smart person. I've always very much so prided myself on being smart, having a higher IQ. I don't like to rub it in or anything and say anything about being smarter than people. I don't like to think of myself that way, even though, at least not out loud, honestly. Sometimes I think it, especially when I'm at Walmart. I swear to God, that's the only store I have in my town. So it really just, if you go there at the wrong time, you're just going to see the absolute worst that my town has to offer. That's not even exaggerating. But that's not the point of this story, Brandy. Be nice. The point of this story is to talk about it more generically. So yes, I'm generally very smart. I excelled in most of my classes in college, all except economics. That just could not grasp it. It was so boring to me. It was required for my degree, though, so I didn't have a choice about that. I had to take it. That one really brought my curve down. If I would have focused, I could have done it. I just couldn't, though. It was just so boring to me, and it was at the end of my, toward the end, right before I graduated. I took it in my last semester. So by then I was just done. I was ready to graduate and get a job in my field and start putting my knowledge to use. Well, during the beginning of my college career, I was in an accounting class, just a basic accounting class that everybody had to take for their degree also, that took the same, or that was going for the same degree as me, which was for medical administration. And I really loved it. And at the same time, one of my girlfriends was also going to school for something else completely, but she also happened to have this class. So we would do our homework together, and I took this as, it wasn't quite, this was just before online classes really blew up, but it was very similar to an online class. You'd still go in and take the tests in the school and stuff. You wouldn't do it online, but you were able to work at your own pace. And I was working on this accounting assignment, and I kind of got stuck on it a little bit, and so I was at my friend's house and we were talking about it. Well, for some reason, we started talking about grades and stuff, and I was showing her my grades, and then, or we were talking about that, and I was talking about some of my upcoming classes to see if we had any more in common. And when I started telling her what my grades were, she's like, I have a confession. She goes, she goes, please don't take this the wrong way. She goes, I didn't think you were that smart. And I kind of looked at her. I knew what she meant, even though it came out like a total B. Like the way she said it, she sounded like a total B. But knowing her as well as I did, I knew that that's not how she meant it. She meant it as a compliment. Because accounting, people were struggling like crazy in this class because that's not what we were going to school for. We were not meant for math. And it was no different for her. But she said once she started seeing my work and how well I was doing, that's when she realized that she's like, I didn't think you were dumb. She goes, I just didn't know you were that smart. And it was in that moment that I appreciated how smart I was, because I didn't, like I said, I don't rub it in. I don't never make anybody feel stupid. If I know something that somebody else doesn't, I try very carefully to explain it in a way to make it make sense. I am very patient when it comes to teaching people. And then at that time, I had also become, or I was asked to become a tutor for other college students in like English, I guess is what we call it. It's like language arts, I think is what more and more schools are calling it now. Not like for me, it was English, and they may still call it English in some spots, but it's language arts. It's like reading and writing and grammar and all that stuff. And though sometimes when you see me writing, it may not seem like it, but that's because it's more casual for me. If I'm in a formal setting, then you better believe that that punctuation is going to be precise. I know, and I get words. Like, they're very easy for me. I come up with all kinds of weird tricks to learn how to spell words. Like, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head that I don't know, like, let's just say ashamed, because I'm looking at it. I would say as ham ed. That's how I remember it, is I break it up into multiple words or a play on words, and then it just sticks. And so I'm able to then always remember how to spell ashamed, because as soon as I go to spell it, if I were to be struggling per se, I would just start saying as ham ed or whatever the word may be. It just, I don't know, that's just how my brain works. So I was very good at that kind of stuff. And same with grammar. I don't know, I just get it. Whereas like math, I don't get. That's like a foreign language to me. And it's the opposite for my husband. He gets numbers. Obviously, he's an accountant. He went back and got his bachelor's in accounting, and he plans on getting his master's in a few years after, he gets a little bit more experience in his field. And he feels like going through that much schooling. But words and punctuation and grammar kind of escape him. He doesn't really like. It's funny when he writes, because none of his words are spelled right, but he just writes them how they sound, and I get it. I can still understand. He's a very intelligent man too, so we all have our areas where we're not the best. Stupid. Let's see. Well, I don't really have like an exact story of feeling stupid, but feeling stupid is one of the things that I think I am most aware of, and something that I'm very self-conscious about. I don't like to be made to look stupid, to feel stupid, and it's probably to do with, my ex, not the one the abusive one, the one I dated just before I met my husband. He was just very verbally abusive and manipulative, and he thought that this world was made for him. That he would always say, "Do you have it?" And I'd be like, "Have," you'd respond, "Have what?" "Well, if you had it, you'd know I have it. Do you have it?" Like, just very condescending. And I think a lot of it stems from that. So I don't like to be talked down to. I don't like to be talked to in a condescending, patronizing tone. It makes me feel very stupid. And that's one thing where I will lose my temper very quickly. And it's one of the few things that will cause me to lose my temper, is to be made to feel stupid on purpose. If there's times where I feel stupid because I made myself feel stupid, not because, somebody else did it. That's different. It's when somebody goes out of their way or either goes out of their way to try to make me feel stupid, or talks to me in a way in which I then feel stupid because it's condescending or patronizing. And a lot of times I find that I have to have a lot of patience in the comment section, because you can't, there's no tone to convey. So you don't know what someone's intentions are when they're writing comments, and it can come across very dry. And if it's something I'm already like self-conscious or unsure about, and somebody will make a comment about it, I have to be very careful in my response, because they may have left the comment with the best of intentions. I mean, obviously there's times when I can tell that that's not the case, but for the most part I can tell. And but sometimes I'm like, I get that just for a quick moment. I'm like, why are they talking to me like I'm stupid? Did they not watch my video? Did they not hear a word I said? Did they not watch everything? I get kind of defensive then, because I feel like people aren't really listening to what I'm saying, and they're thinking me an idiot. And even if that wasn't said, and I'm not saying that happens all the time, that probably happens 1 in every 100 or so comments. So I don't want anybody to feel like I'm going to misunderstand your comments. I'm getting a lot better about it, because I'm usually the one to remind people that text does not convey tone. Because there's been many times when that has played a part in like either a text message conversation or an instant message conversation or something like that. Yeah, so that is something that I'm very self-conscious about. I think because I know I'm intelligent, but if somebody else doesn't know it and they're trying to explain it to me, I can't really blame them for trying to be helpful. But sometimes I do get super upset in those moments where I'm like, I know this. Why are you explaining? But I'm such a gentle person that I would never actually say that. I'll just complain to my husband later about it. Be like, I cannot believe this person. Obviously, I know how to do this, and they didn't. They should have known I knew how to do this, or something to that effect. And that helps me. That keeps me from blowing up at people, knowing that I can vent to him, and he will just either listen to me or try to explain whatever the situation was to try to calm me down. But he knows that doesn't always work. That's not the most effective method to getting me or talking me down when I'm upset about something. Sometimes he knows the best thing to do is just to sit there and listen. And sometimes it's even better to just agree with me and be on my side. And then when I've calmed down, he can come around and be like, well, you really did overreact, or you really were wrong in that situation. But he knows when I'm already upset, no need to rock the boat. So I very much so appreciate him. I appreciate how much he gets me in that way. Which I guess I don't really want to get into another pairing, because that kind of ends that pairing. But I'm excited that we're getting through some of these, and you're getting to know a little bit more about me. So let's see. I might be able to get through another. I'm trying to think. Guilt and innocent. I got some stories. Let's go with that. Guilt and innocent. So I think I can get through them pretty quickly. First, I'm going to tell you about a story of innocence. And this was probably a time in my life where I was actually kind of scared too. But let's get into the story. So growing up, I had a lot of guy friends. I just didn't get along with a lot of the girls. I guess because I liked working on cars. I liked, I was a huge tomboy is what it was. I wasn't like a flirt or anything. I never like was around the boys to try to get their attention in any way. I just had more in common with them. Like I said, I liked working on cars. I liked building things. And, the girls at that time, I did hang out with them too, but in my group of friends. But the guys, I did more things with. My best friend at the time, and for most of my life, was a guy, and I spent a lot of time with him. And I actually had 2 best guy friends, and they actually had the same name. Their name was Joe. So I was hanging out with one of the Joes, And we went out to one of our mutual friends' house, and they had just had a baby. And along the way, we picked up one of my other friends, who was also obviously a mutual friend. It was just a friend group. But the guy's house that we were going to visit, I didn't know him super well. I had only kind of hung out with him a few times. But my guy friends were, they were more buddies with him. I just kind of went out to see the baby because I love kids. I worked in a preschool. That was my first job. And my job was literally to eat lunch with the kids and help them cut their food and then go play with them and supervise their playtime after lunch. That was my first job. And I think that I had just left that job at the time, so I was super into kids at the time. And I hadn't been around a whole lot of babies up until this point. I had actually just more recently had my own son, my first son. And it was obviously after I got out of my disastrous relationship, and he was kind of toddling at that point. So I think I was just having baby fever. And so the guy brought us into he had a son. He brought us into his son's nursery. And obviously he was being a proud parent, showing off his baby. And obviously we sat and oohed and awed and did all the congratulations and all that stuff. Like I said, this was probably only that was the first time I was ever went to this guy's house, and it was probably only the fifth or sixth time I ever even hung out with him. And it would end up being this almost the last. There was one other time I hung out with this guy afterwards, and I never hung out with him again, and I'm getting to why. So after we go see the baby in the nursery, me and my two friends and the guy that we were visiting, we went into the living room, which was the nursery was right next to it. And then the guys started talking about some job that they were going to be working at in the next coming days, because that's also the kind of thing that they did. I knew that this S went it's actually not an S, but I'm going to put this. Never mind. Let's just take it out. I have to do it. So, 1 second, I'm going to pause so my son can pass by. Okay. So anyway, back to what I was saying. The guys were talking about an upcoming job that they had. Most of my guy friends worked construction, and they were doing some kind of job together. And so they're talking, and I'm getting bored because obviously I don't care about this kind of stuff. It's not my job. I'm not doing it. I have no part in it. So I asked, can I go visit with the baby a little bit? And the guy's like, yeah, sure. Go ahead. And then, so I go in there and I, kind of chit chat with the baby, I guess. I don't really know how else to explain it. And then the baby ends up falling asleep. So I was in there probably about 5 minutes, and I left because I didn't want to bother the baby while he's sleeping. And I just go and sit down and continue to be bored while these guys talk and do their thing. And we leave. So the next day comes around. And I'm hanging out in my friend's basement. That's kind of where we'd hang out. And the guy whose house we had been at the day before comes down into the basement, and he just comes up to me and he's like, "You effing B." He was, "I know you stole the money and I want it back." And I'm just sitting there all of a sudden I just feel myself freezing because I didn't take his money. He's like, "There was $300 in my son's room, and you're the only other person who went back in there." He goes, "I want that money back." And obviously I tried to defend myself, but he was irate. He was a bigger guy, and he was known not to be so nice to his girlfriend. I would almost say, he was kind of the one that would be I don't know. I don't want to say he wasn't abusive in the way I was. I'm not justifying it. I'm just trying to set the tone for the story to know the kind of person I was dealing with. He was a hothead, let's say. And he he was in my face, and it had my friend not been there to stop this guy, I don't know what he would have done. And anyway, so after he's done yelling at me, and I'm going back and forth, and I'm saying I would never steal from you. Why would I steal from you? And he's saying, well, you went back in my baby's room, and that was suspicious, and nobody else was in there with you, and nobody else was in that room. And then, so once my friend got him calmed down and got him to leave, of course he's walking away, telling me what a bee I am, and that he wants his money back as soon as possible, or things are going to happen. So then I'm terrified at this point, and I'm talking to my friend, and he knows I wouldn't do that, and he knew. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He goes, I'll calm him down. He goes, I had no idea that he thought you took that. He goes, I know you didn't. You would never do that, blah, 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 that kind of thing. You know, I was just glad that my friend knew me well enough to know that I would never do that. First of all, I'm not going to snoop around in a baby's room. And second of all, I'm not going to steal from anybody. That's so dirty, and I would just never do it. I don't know, like, my empathy runs so deep that I'm always like, do unto others as you would want done unto you. And that's the thing that always stops me from doing something stupid, or just doing something stupid, or reacting without thinking. I don't ever want, I always treat people the way I want to be treated, and I would not want to be stolen from, especially when I just had a baby, and especially not a couple $100. I mean, how stupid would I have to be to take that amount of money knowing that it's going to be obvious if I were to steal? And that's a big if. I were to steal, I certainly wouldn't take the whole amount. I would maybe slip a 20 or something I didn't think would be obvious, but I certainly wouldn't risk taking all of it. So, like, a week or so goes by, and this guy comes back, and I was terrified when I heard his voice, and I had no idea he was coming over. My friend also had no idea he was coming over. And I start getting ready to leave because I'm not going to be accosted verbally again. And I didn't know what this guy was going to think. Was he there demanding money? Was he going to try to do something to get it back? So I start getting ready to leave. And he's like, before I can even get my shoes on, he's like, Brandy, I really want to apologize to you. I know you didn't take the money. And I was like, okay, I appreciate that, but why do you think that now when you didn't think that a week ago? And he goes, well, and we'll just insert name here. It's not the real name. He goes, well, John, when I told John about the story about you stealing the money, that I thought you stole the money, he says, oh yeah, don't worry about that. We'll help her pay that back. And he said, I knew right then and there that he had stolen it, because why would he offer to pay it back? And I still ended up leaving because I still didn't feel safe or comfortable around that guy. But I thanked him for apologizing to me, and I told him I appreciated, that he came over to, let me know what had happened and what went down, and that this guy actually ended up paying it back. Yeah, because he didn't want nothing bad to happen to me. I don't know why this guy did what he did. Like, oops, that's S. That's not. I don't know why he ended up saying what he did about, we'll pay that back for her, or anything like that. I mean, everybody would know that the kid that said it was, I grew up in a poor neighborhood, so I knew he didn't have the money. And this guy did too. That's why he was getting ready to go on a job with him, because he needed money for whatever the reason was. It was scary. It was so scary, and I knew all along that I was innocent. And just to be kind of vindicated in that was such a great feeling, and knowing I knew I didn't do it, but just to be accused of doing something that you know you didn't do and have no way to prove it, it's terrifying. And it's terrifying to have people think of you in that way also. So, and as far as the guilt thing goes, that's just, oh my God, I feel guilty all the time. I don't know what is wrong with me that I feel guilty. It's like my natural state of mind all the time. I don't know if it's just because I have so many amends to make since getting sober or what, but man, does guilt ever. I'm always just racked with guilt all the time anymore. It's just, I don't even know, like, I don't have any, like, clear examples of it, but I do. It's like, I feel guilty all the time, and it's something I struggle with so much. Like, if I go outside to have, I like to have these flavored cigars, and if I go outside and I feel like I'm outside too long, I feel guilty about that. If I'm down here recording when the kids are upstairs working on schoolwork, I feel guilty. It's like a natural state of mind, and it's just the most, I can't, like, I don't know. I try to, like, talk to my husband about it all the time. And I bet my battery's going dead. Let me double check. Yeah, so I will not be filming a last part to this. This will be it for the week. But you'll have a lot of other videos to compensate. But yes, I do try to talk to my husband all the time about this. So to try to alleviate some of that. Because I don't know where it came from and I don't know why it's there. But it is. It's just something that I right up there with the loneliness and the envy. It's something that I literally have to work on. It's just, it never goes away. I mean, it's almost like 20 hours out of the day I'm feeling guilty about something. Well, that's an exaggeration. That's a complete exaggeration. I'm starting to clean up so I can say goodbye. But it is a complete exaggeration. But it's probably, guilt will strike me like 5, 6, sometimes 20 times a day. Just depends on the day, and I guess. But yeah, I don't have much more to add to that just because I know I need to wrap this video up. My battery's at 4%, so I better just say goodbye. So, thank you so much for joining me this week. Stay tuned for the other videos I have coming out. I got some good stuff coming up. And with that, I will let you go. Have an awesome day. Have fun doing whatever it is that truly makes you happy. I love you, friends, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.